What led to Justice Democrats was this movement that was built. I was working in retail, I was doing takeout work and going to school. Some other co-founders were starting tech companies, and another one had a food truck business and was from Tennessee and New York. And I just met all of these people that were on this team that were working ridiculously hard, almost all day from morning to night to get Bernie elected. And the thing that we all heard as we were talking to tens of thousands of volunteers repeatedly was, it's great if we get Bernie elected, but how are we going to get anything done? Congress has been broken. And you can see over the past 20 years that it's every 2 years it switches back from red to blue. And even when we have had a Democratic majority, we hadn't seen leadership that actually took advantage of that moment to get things like immigration reform done, to get things like universal health care done, and lead by example by refusing corporate money as a Democratic Party when we know it's supposed to stand for working people. And so the idea of electing a brand new Congress and building a Justice Democrats caucus in the House of Representatives and in the Senate felt absolutely necessary regardless if Bernie ever got elected to president or not. How are we going to actually enact the policies that we want if we don't hold the power to do so? After the Bernie campaign ended, in probably July, or when he, I think, conceded the nomination, several people had already hopped off to start brand new Congress and the idea of Justice Democrats. And as opposed to going to do something else, I wanted to go do that. I wanted to elect a new generation of leaders, of working class leaders that looked like me, not just a 70-year-old white guy from Vermont, and that looked like the full diversity of our society, of our economy, in Congress that's majority white, majority wealthy, and majority male. A typical week at Justice Democrats can look like any number of things. But I mean, the consistent thing, right, is our candidates. It's our campaigns. Our North Star are the progressive champions, the working class people that we are trying to get elected into federal office. And it takes a lot of work to be able to do that across communications, political, digital, fundraising, organizing, relational organizing, all of these different facets that make up an insurgent campaign, except refusing to accept any corporate lobbyist or corporate PAC money, which means that you rely on organizing, you rely on inspiring people to believe in big ideas so that they can do big things. And so a lot of the work that we all do at Justice Democrats is really trying to make sure that every dollar that we raise goes towards that end. It goes towards building a caucus of Justice Democrats that is actually going to put aside political ambition and fight for solutions as big as the problems that we're facing right now. When I became executive director, it was right after the June 26th primary for Ocasio-Cortez in 2018, and some of my biggest mentors and my former boss went to go run the congressional office for AOC because we, were obviously pushing hard. We did everything we could to get over the finish line and did not necessarily think about and didn't have time or capacity to think about staffing an entire congressional office. And certainly I was not expecting to take over the organization or any of that. I think we were all just so focused on trying to get this incredible human being elected. And so it felt like overnight, everything changed, obviously for AOC, but our movement and what we were trying to do. And so in the immediate, it just was natural of like, okay, there's work that needs to be done. And the other folks that I was working with have to go do this other thing. I've got to hold down the fort. And from there, yeah, I guess it's not something that I necessarily wanted, but it feels like something that, the folks of my team want of me, and I will continue to carry out that role. And imposter syndrome is something that you deal with every day. I don't know if I am, still don't have it, but if our whole pitch is that working people deserve just as much as the ultra wealthy to be empowered to be in government, then I've got to tell myself, my staff, and our entire movement that every day.